children, we are learning History Unit 2 from Trade to Territory. The British who came to India for trading purpose, how they started to conquer territories in India. That we are learning in this lesson from Trade to Territory. So let's recall what we have learned in the previous class before entering into today's class. The previous class we learned Anglo-Mysore Wars. 4 Anglo-Mysore Wars were fought. Mysore, one of the famous region at that time in South India, which was ruled by Hyder Ali, who was very famous for his bravery and his very good ruling. And he did lot of the welfare measures for the people, and he ruled Mysore in a very great manner. So the Hyder Ali's growing power and his friendly relationship with the French became a matter of concern for the British. So that led to the first Anglo-Mysore War. In that first Anglo-Mysore War, Hyder Ali easily defeated the British, and Treaty of Madras was signed between them in 1769. But the British did not obey the Treaty of Madras conditions. When Marathas tried to attack Hyder Ali sought help from the British. But the British did not come forward to help him. So that led to the second Anglo-Mysore War in 1780. But during the war, Hyder Ali fell ill and he died. Even though he died, his son, another famous king, Tipu Sultan of Mysore, he was as brave as his father. He continued the war, and he also got success over the British in the second Anglo-Mysore War. There was a Treaty of Mangalore signed in 1784, and that war came to an end. Warren Hastings saved the newly established British dominion from the powerful enemies of the Marathas and Hyder Ali by signing this treaty. And next we learned third Anglo-Mysore War. That is, Tipu was trying to seek alliance with the foreign powers like France and Turkey. And he attacked Travancore. Tipu didn't like the presence of British in India. So he attacked Travancore, the ruler was allied with the British. So the English, the Nizam and Marathas, they entered into triple alliance. See that Nizam and Marathas, even though they were Indians, they made alliance with the English against Tipu Sultan. Tipu Sultan fought alone for the third Anglo-Mysore War. It was happened for 2 years in 3 phases. Tipu attacked the English and General Meadows failed. Therefore, in December 1790, Cornwallis himself took the command of the army, who was the governor of English at that time. And he reached Srirangapatnam and the nearby places and surrounded them. So finally, Tipu felt desperate. That is, nobody was there to help him. So he opened a negotiation. That is, for signing an agreement with the English. Treaty of Srirangapatnam was signed in 1792. The third Anglo-Mysore War came to an end. And the fourth, according to Treaty of Srirangapatnam, Tipu surrendered half of his kingdom to the allies, and he had to pay 3.64 rupees as the war indemnity. And some of the important places like Malabar, Cochin, Dindigul and Paramahal, that is Coimbatore and Salem at present, they were given to the British. So Tipu Sultan did not forget this activity of British. So he wanted to make again war against the British. So the fourth Anglo-Mysore War started in 1799. Tipu sought alliance with the foreign powers of the Arabia, Turkey, Afghanistan and the French. So Tipu was in correspondence to the Napoleon, who had invaded Egypt at that time. And the French officers also came to Srirangapatnam, and they planted a tree of liberty, and they found a Jacobean club there. And Wellesley, he declared war against Tipu in 1799. This war was very short, but it is a decisive war. And the Bombay, two generals came. One is General Stuart and another one is the General Arthur Wellesley, who was the brother of Wellesley. Both of them fought very bravely and captured Srirangapatnam on 4th May 1799. Tipu fought bravely, but he was killed finally. Thus ended the 4th Anglo-Mysore War, and the whole Mysore lay as a prostrate before the British. So the English captured Kannada, Wayanad, Coimbatore, Tarapuram and Srirangapatnam. A small part of the Mysore was given to Krishna Raja Udaya, who came as the hierarchy from the Hindu royal family. And Tipu's family was sent to Port Vellore by the British. Children, today's class we are going to see Anglo-Maratha Wars. 3 Anglo-Maratha Wars were fought. Before entering into the wars, let us see who were the Marathas. Who were the Marathas? They were the power that dominated a large portion of Indian subcontinent in the 18th century. The famous ruler of Maratha was the Chhatrapati Shivaji. The famous Maratha ruler was Chhatrapati Shivaji, and he was the person who brought the Maratha Empire as the famous region at that time. But this region was collapsed by the Mughals after the death of Shivaji, and it was divided into many after the Battle of Panipat by the Mughals and the Maratha forces. The Maratha Empire was divided and ruled by different type of people like Peshwas at Pune, Kaikwadas at Baroda, Bhonsle at Nagpur, Holkars at Intur, and Sindhis at Gwalior. The internal conflicts among the Marathas. Conflict means there is no unity among the Maratha leaders. That was best utilized by the British in their expansionist policy. That led to series of Maratha wars, Anglo-Maratha wars. The first Anglo-Maratha war, the duration was 1775 to 1782. Let us see what were the causes for the first Anglo-Maratha war. So the first British intervention was at the time of the dispute over succession to the Peshwaship following the death of Narayana Rao. When Narayana Rao died, a person called Raghunath Rao, he became the Peshwa. But at that time when a Peshwa died, his son would be the next Peshwa. But Narayana Rao didn't have any adult son. He had an infant, his wife Gangabai. At that time only, he delivered a baby boy. So in the meantime, the infant cannot be a Peshwa. That's why Raghunath Rao, he became the Peshwa. It was not accepted by a party in Pune under the leadership of Nana Patnavis. They were against Raghunath Rao. They supported and they said that we have to accept only that infant born to Gangabai as the Peshwa. So that led to the conflict between Raghunath Rao and Nana Patnavis. So Raghunath Rao, he approached the British for the help and signed a treaty with them. At that time, the British governor was Warren Hastings. He accepted that to help Raghunath Rao, and he sent his colonel called Colonel Upton to Pune. So the British Council, they sent Colonel Upton to Pune to negotiate a peace with the Pune Regency. Upton concluded a treaty with them and at Burandar in 1776, but it did not take any effect due to the opposition from the English government in Bombay. So it led to the first Anglo-Maratha war. So in 1871, Warren Hastings, he dispatched the British troops under Captain Popham. He defeated the Maratha chief Maghadaji Scindia in a number of small battles and captured Gwalior. A simple battle which put an end, a failure to the Marathas by Captain Popham. So in 17th May 1782, the Treaty of Salbai was signed between Warren Hastings and Maghadaji Scindia. The first Anglo-Maratha war came to an end by the Treaty of Salbai. So it brought Raghunath Rao to an end. He was pensioned off and removed from his position of as a Peshwa. And Madhav Rao II was made as the Peshwa by the British. And Salsati, an important place there, was given to the British. And it resulted in the British influence in the politics of India. Till that they were conquered the places, but now they started showing their influence in the Indian politics. Still, after the end of the first Maratha war, the internal affairs of the Marathas led to confliction between many people, especially Nana Patnavis and Maghadaji Scindia. Nana Patnavis grew fond of the power, and he became progressively inclined to seek the support of the English. At the same time, the Peshwa Madhava Rao II was very young one. He couldn't have the ability to check the rivalry of the Marathas. So in 1794, Maghadaji Scindia died and was succeeded by his grandnephew Daulat Rao Scindia. And after the death of Maghadaji Scindia only, Nana Patnavis became supreme at Pune and the English to expand their influence in the North India. But Peshwa Madhava Rao II, he was young and he couldn't control them. He committed suicide in 1795. And Bajirao II, the worthless son of Raghunath Rao, became the Peshwa. In 1800, Nana Patnavis died and gave the British the added advantage. On the other hand, Jaswant Rao Holkar and Daulat Rao Scindia, they were fighting each other. Jaswant Rao Holkar and Daulat Rao Scindia. The Peshwa supported Scindia against the Holkar. So the Peshwa and Scindia agreed to help each other. So Holkar, what did he do? He marched against the Peshwa. The combined force of Scindia and the Peshwa was utterly defeated in 1802 and Holkar captured the city. At the time, who was the Peshwa? Bajirao II. So he approached to Lord Wellesley. So another internal conflict was between Jaswant Rao Holkar and Daulat Rao Scindia. And Scindia was supported by the Peshwa. So Holkar was marched against Scindia and the Peshwa Bajirao II. So they were defeated in 1802 in the internal war between these people. And Bajirao II, what did he do? He approached Lord Wellesley. What did Bajirao II do? He approached Lord Wellesley, who was the Governor General of India at that time, for help. Lord Wellesley, he welcomed the Peshwa and made him to sign a treaty basin. That is the Treaty of Subsidiary Alliance. We will learn about Subsidiary Alliance in the following classes. It was one of the methods followed by Lord Wellesley for annexing the Indian territories with the British power. So now the Peshwa by himself, he came under the control of the British by signing the Treaty of Basin. That is, in other words, it is known as Treaty of Subsidiary Alliance. That is, accepting the status of British subsidiary in 1802. As an immediate treaty of the Basin, the British group marched under the command of Arthur Wellesley towards Pune and restored the Peshwa to his position. Once again, Bajirao II was made as the Peshwa, but the forces of Holkar vanished from the Maratha capital. They were not defeated, they were vanished, they gone away, and they were waiting for another war. It led to the Second Anglo-Maratha War and also to the Third Anglo-Maratha War. About that we will learn the next classes. So children, this class we have seen who were the Marathas and what were the causes for the British intervention in the Marathas policies, and what were the causes of the First Anglo-Maratha War, what happened in that, and what were the result of the First Anglo-Maratha Wars. After the First Anglo-Maratha War, what were the internal affairs of the Marathas. Hope that you understood the concept. God bless you all with His grace, children. Thank you. Bye.